Hi there, I'm Tony Hixon, CEO and co-founder of Hixon Zuercher Capital Management, joined by
Jordan Shaw, Wealth Advisor at Hixon Zuercher Capital Management.
And we are here today to give you a market and economic update for the month of March. We're looking back at February, and we'll also give you a couple thoughts on what's going on here in the U.S., the Iran conflict that's going on overseas. So we'll follow up with some thoughts on that. So I guess as we recap February, kind of a volatile month, a downward trajectory in the markets, the S&P, Dow, NASDAQ all closed the month lower. The month of February was lower. But international markets, so developed international and emerging economies, they were the shining stars. Developed international up 4% and emerging markets up almost 8% in a month. So this is a result of the dollar declining in value. When you restate foreign earnings into a devalued US dollar, they look better. And so we were feeling the effects of a diversified portfolio. So if you have exposure there, you had actually a really good month in February. And then also CPI, or Consumer Price Index, a measure of inflation, was released, and it came in cooler than expected. Just a 2.4% increase year over year. That followed the month before was 2.7. So from 2.7 down to 2.4, it's basically putting some pressure on the Fed to potentially lower rates a little bit quicker than maybe they want to, because inflation is cooling off and they have the ability to lower rates at this point. So,
and they're used to dealing with pressure. I think
a little bit. Yeah, I would think Jerome Powell might feel that from time to time.
So certain. In other news, we have the Florida news story of the month.
I can't wait for this part. What's up?
This is a good one. Okay. So this is actually part 2, and I think we might have been the two to bring it up at the last time that this happened, last year actually, the Florida Man Games.
Well, of course, everybody remembers that because they know our videos very well.
Right. Yeah. Thankfully, we all have a memory that goes back that far, certainly. But at these games for 2026, the Florida Man Games are in their 3rd year now. I don't know if we mentioned it at year 1, but now we're in the 3rd year of this competition. And there are 12 teams across Florida that compete for a couple of weeks under the Florida sun. And last year's champs, maybe this will jog some memories, the team name was Hanky Spanky. So
that does jog some memory.
Yes, unfortunately.
I think we're going to get canceled after this
I'm
show.
Not sure. I'm just reading from the paper. So.
Okay.
But this year, there were a few new competitions. You could compete in the mechanical gator or human beer pong or the mugshot photo booth. They all sound extremely like a Florida Man competition would be. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the real champ was not Hanky Spanky. It was the Freedom Factory, which was the host team for the new venue that the games were at. So, I don't know. I might call a flag on that play. That seems a little suspicious to me. Mm-hmm. And lastly, the last event was called Evading Arrest, where the fastest team members would run an obstacle course, then try to steal a catalytic converter under a vehicle while dodging a member of the Manatee County SWAT team.
Oh, wow.
So this one hits home for me. I had my catalytic converter stolen in the past. Mm-hmm. So they probably, I would imagine, went on to be the champion of this Florida Man game. I would hope.
Not in Findlay, though, right?
Not in Findlay. No, of course not in Findlay.
Everything's safe.
Everything's safe
and
wonderful
in our bubble here. So yeah. Well, the key of any good video is a good transition to the next story. So this is not going to be a good video. There's not a good transition here. Over the weekend, we're recording this on Tuesday, March 3rd. This is the 3rd. Over the weekend, the U.S. and Israel began airstrikes on Iran that ultimately killed Iran's supreme leader and other senior figures, triggering Iranian retaliation across the region and raising concerns about wider escalation and energy supply disruptions. It was surprising that when the markets opened yesterday on Monday, it wasn't down more than it was. Today is another kind of a down day in the markets, but even with that backdrop, they've been surprisingly resilient so far. Stocks are trading a little bit higher while oil and gold are reflecting the added geopolitical risk. They're up in value. So, but that's what's going on in the markets. But as far as our clients and their financial plans, Jordan, any thoughts or encouragement that you would provide to our clients listening in?
Yeah, certainly. So, unfortunately, this type of thing, we've seen these events happen in the past, and there's to be expected some short-term volatility that will be felt. There's also some downstream economic impact that we'll see to some degree. That's just the nature of the world that we live in. But fortunately, we don't plan just for short-term events. We zoom out and we plan for the bigger picture, long-term, consistent planning. And it's impossible to predict these type of events with accuracy, but it is possible to plan for them, to foresee a type of event that would create that volatility. So what we do to prevent that short term or the bottleneck in returns and things like that is we look at stress testing these. We actually do a financial stress test on every single plan that we build. And it accounts for disruptions in the global economy that could lead to multiple years in a row of those unfavorable returns. And the result of that, in addition to some other conservative assumptions that we use, is to allow for a plan to be successful without multiple years of ongoing favorable market performance, because that's just not reality. And hopefully this does bring peace of mind, especially if you're relying on a portfolio for income in the later half of that plan, or if you're continuing to save into those plans. It's not for nothing. There is a plan for those accounts, for your portfolio, and we do account for things like this happening in the world.
Yeah. Yep. So we know that this video is seen not just by our clients, but by those who may not have an advisor. So it's important during these times to have someone be able to walk alongside you during these types of disruptions and ensure that your portfolio is doing what you're expecting it to do. So as always, if you have any questions about your portfolio or like to get in touch, please give us a call at 419-425-2400 or send us an email at hello@hzcapital.com. Again, Tony Hixon, appreciate your time.
Jordan Shaw.
Have a great rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.